All right, let's get the hair. Good. Okay. What up, poetry lovers? Welcome to Beatnix on the Road, a virtual tour where every episode we stop in a different city to meet the poets of that scene. And today we are stopping in one of my favorite cities, period, not just for the poetry, period, Los Angeles. And our first poet is Matthew Cuban Hernandez. Matt, how you doing?
Man, God is good. I cannot complain. How are you, brother?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. I'm really glad to have you here. And yo, we're about to get blessed by these poems. They are in for a treat. I don't even know. Let me
Honored,
tell
honored.
y'all, let me tell you a little bit about Matthew. Matthew Cuban Hernandez is a poet, MC, so good, speaker, he do be speaking, actor, did not know that, and performance coach from Jacksonville, Florida. He has toured as far as Abu Dhabi, jealous, and nearly every major city in the United States and Europe, performing, teaching, and coaching poetry. A teaching artist for over 15 years, Matthew has spent the last 10 years working in youth detention centers across Los Angeles County, currently serving as the director of camp programming for Street Poets Incorporated. In addition, he is a current lead teacher and co-founder of Spoken Literature Art Movement. Cuban has opened for artists such as Wu-Tang, performed for platforms such as BuzzFeed and NPR, and even appeared on the award, you distracted me, on the award-winning television show Better Things. Matthew is also a three-time Southern Fried Poetry Slam champion, jealous again, and an award-winning poetry coach. Cuban's favorite activity is making people feel great. Sometimes he does this through hip hop and poetry. Everybody, I'm going to turn it over to the great Matthew Cuban Hernandez. Take it away, homie.
Oh my God, dog. That was beautiful. Oh my good. My heart is so full and warm. Ah, what's good, beautiful people of the universe? It is a privilege and an honor to read some poems from y'all, man. I am on the eve of publishing this beautiful piece of work. It's my second baby. It's called All Brown Boys Get Trumpets. I'm gonna read some poems from here today, and share some stuff with y'all, man. It's an honor. Um, I've come to this place to fuck shit up, to shake the dust off the drone of another day. I've come to be heard and seen, but only after I've listened. I've listed out my grievances. I've attached meeting notes with power and bullet points. I made a point to name my demons. They all look like a cringed expression. They all have the same hair standing at attention the moment a guillotine drops. I'm done being kind. People haven't done that shit since blockbusters and VCR anyway. I'm done being angry or passive or passionate. I just want to be breaking news or breaking cycles or something in between, yelling poems and setting off homemade explosives to the nearest financial institution. I've come into this place, into this poem to release, to find comfort in no longer holding frustration like a smallpox blanket. I've come to quiet the wailing of my grief in hyperbole, wearing a smile like a mask of a kid who died when his mother did. I've come to a resting place where the grass is the greenest and always has and always will get the best sunlight. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, I gotta stop you. When you use Blockbuster as a measurement of time, that was wild. I've, I've been thinking about doing stuff like that, like referencing things that really only people of my generation will get. But I wonder, like, is it alienating or is it inviting? Is it a glimpse for like non-millennials? I really be struggling with that. And I wonder if that'll become different as I get older. Like, will we be like, we're talking about sock and bumpers in our 50s reference point? I wonder.
I think so. Like honestly, there's this dude on like TikTok who has this trend where he's like making up fake slang for the students he teaches, and
Yes.
he's like, yo, and it's like, or like I'll watch battle rappers and they're always like end a punchline on some like really obscure athlete that nobody knows, but they say it hard. And, oh shit, they'll be like, you know, I'm out here hitting home runs like Balls McGinnis. And like, who the fuck? Nobody knows who that is. But I don't know. I feel like say that shit. If you don't know, look it up. You know, that's also how I learned a lot of shit in poetry. Like poets were always referencing stuff back in the day, like putting me on game about different things, quoting other poets after poems. These were things that, you know, if I wasn't put on game, I got put on game through the poems.
Not the award-winning coach giving me a micro workshop. You low key just changed the trajectory of my writing for the rest of the year. Yo, let me get out of here. Let me get out of your hair. What do you got for us next?
All right, I got a little something. I'm from Jacksonville. I'm from Duval County, home of all things ratchet. This is my little poem. Who am I? I'm a brown boy, a man child, a grisly hug, a misjudged cover, an unexpected ending, a new study, an old treat, a rabbit, a bottomless hat, a surprise can of beans, a corner bag of rice, the boil, the simmer, the seasonings, the ladle, the legacy, a pat on the back, a conversation worth having that never happens, a family secret, a curse, a cure, a harvest, a harness, a hailstorm, a journal, a couple of months of rent, an epic, an empty checking savings account, como se dice, financial. I'm a chuckle, a private message, a hidden look, a perfect place, or a poem about working on purpose. Who am I? Love, past like heirlooms, a hug personified. When I smile, my ancestors introduce themselves. I am my family's wildest dreams, a river without an ocean to end itself into. I am my wife's silence, her belly laugh, underlying conversations we have without words. I am the community that raised me, the Ritz Theater in Duval County streets where play was interrupted by the passing of cars or a classmate, by the sun setting or the sound of shots a block over. That morning, my parents found a way for the dinner they weren't sure they could provide. Maybe I'm a yawn, an open mouth, some thought, a scream, a loose door, looking at a lock like a hieroglyphic, looking at clothes like a window. I am my mother's spirit, the wisdom she never tried for, the God she never grew out of, the Yoruba, the Afro-Indigenous, the Native, and the Namaste, the melting of the history pretending itself genetic. I am not yet, but I am soon to be. I am a waiting room, holding a number, patiently waiting to be called. Who am I? I am my mother's magic, my ancestors' wildest dreams, my family story keeper, a wounded healer, a waiting hug, a present listener, an extended invitation, a warm home, a safe space, a driven leader and focused student, a quad racial mixed boy with no one to resemble when all the clay has molded me into the man with a world smile, a gated grin, a bellowing laugh. Who am I? Beautiful. No caveat, just beautiful and brilliance and brown and all these things that bounce and shake and take up space, but never built for boys like me. I am dreams standing behind paper barricades, daring to ignite. I am my city's favorite sun, a blade of grass on a field in Paxson. I am Fuji's gifted bite, gunfire during church, Fuji's last breath, Will's last breath, Tavis's last breath, Clinton's last breath, Pablo's last breath, Reddin's last breath, Samantha's last breath, Teska's last breath, Rage's last breath, Tanya's last breath, Ivana's breath. Wisdom, magic, her magic, her magic, her magic, her will to live, smirking at death while knocking at the door, smirking at doctors who can only care for 15 minutes at a time. I am becoming what I believe, and I believe that I am enough. I am my own belief, and I believe that I am abundance, extra toppings on everything, dessert after the seconds, after a second win, a captured breath, a moment immortalized, an unquenchable thirst for love and love and learning and love, and most of all, most importantly, who I am is just getting started. Thank you.
Now, listen, I gotta ask you, why did you write this poem?
Probably a bunch of reasons. I think the first reason is like, you know, I teach a lot of poetry to incarcerated youth and students like that. And these fuckers won't write unless I write with them. Like, just, they'll just sit there and look at me and ask me questions and talk to me. I'm like, no, I'm writing. So I've kind of given myself in the practice to always just write with my students. And, you know, like it's a very like poetry is very personal, you know what I mean? And you know, you go into these settings where like sharing personal things about you like could be dangerous, right? Especially like a kid might be in a situation where he's surrounded by certain people from certain neighborhoods, you know what I'm saying? Situations like that. So anyway, I try to write with my students as much as I can, but ultimately, you know, everything in this book was written because I was grieving, because I was sad and didn't want to do anything mean to myself. So instead of being mean, I tried to write and I tried to channel what a lot of these folks who I mentioned would really appreciate me to do instead of stuff that's not nice to me. So yeah, I think ultimately trying to be nice to myself.
And to the thank you for sharing that, Matthew. Um, I feel like anybody who's watching, um, for me, when I do a poem in front of people, it's always with the intent of making a change in the audience. But sometimes you have to write a poem to make a positive change in yourself. And you know, like in therapy, I'm encouraged to write I am poems. So that's why I was asking. So to anybody who's watching, yo, definitely try and write an I am poem with the intent of making a positive change in yourself. You can even write a line or two in the comments. But anyway, we got one more poem from the great homie Cuban. What you got for us, man?
Thank you for that statement too, homie. Like I do appreciate it. I mean, I think everything in this book is everything I do is really for myself, to be honest. I feel like I'm a selfish writer sometimes, you know, but honestly, like I'm just trying to heal, y'all. Like it's dope that people be liking my shit, but I'm like, I just want to heal. Like, you know, I think like that's the cherry on top.
Hmm.
You know, I feel like the older I get, the more I gotta learn how to heal in healthier ways. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially like, you know, like the piece in itself, I'm like, you know, like I'm beautiful. Like I would never actually say that ever. Like I don't think I would ever, I've never actually claimed that outside of writing it in that poem. You know, it's a weird feeling sometimes. But you know, when you're doing a poem, you like, no, I'm gonna stand on this shit. Like I'm on this stage, no matter what. I'll stay 10 toes on this one. So it's like forcing myself to really feel these things instead of doing it. This is my last piece. It's called Inhale.
All right, let me get out the way.
I grit my teeth, breathe, open my eyes, breathe, shower, close, breakfast, calendar, clock, keys, car, breathe. GPS, delay, 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 breathe. The HOV lane, an impression of a parking lot. The exit I need, a Homeric excursion. Empathy abandoned, breathe. Thousands of cars, one person each. Scheduled a countdown until the next time I breathe. Into a keyboard, dreams type. The future you want to see. Body tired, ache from sleep deprived. Students, time, machines, POs, stopwatch, OC warning, students, minors, judge, predators, predictors, policy, grit my teeth, breathe. Too many questions for my questions. Too many people working hard to gatekeep the answers. My dreams are full of love, so much love, enough to keep my students safe. Young eyelids engulfed in pain, and we breathe, clench our fist until palms bleed. Our target's too large, too strong, too overwhelmingly right, too infallible. So we trick ourselves into believing this pain belongs to choice, and we hit and we yell and we fight so hard, hoping someone notices our bruises, hoping someone finds a way out and will offer just time to sit and breathe. Maybe I can be that person When I breathe deep, it's usually because I've dwelled on something I want to forget. I've tried to forget this hurt, this weighted gasp, this achy stomach. It feels like my breath knows me better than I do. The quiet inhalation, the sharp exhale. It has no poker face. When I breathe deep, I'm angry, I'm emptied, I'm about to explode or let go, and this breath is my last hold, my barely noticed pull, subconscious metronome of life. When I breathe deep, someone's cut me off in traffic. When I breathe deep, my rent is raised, but my paychecks are not. When I breathe deep, I remember my mother died and I sent the last 4 calls to voicemail, and everything's been deleted. I'm constantly breathing deep. I'm constantly trying to suppress a voice telling me to just fall apart and sleep for a month or forever. But instead, I breathe as deep as my lungs can hold. I try to take in as much air as my chest will allow until it hurts, until I hurt so bad I forget how bad I've hurt, until I forget, until I forget, until I breathe. Thank you.
Hey, you didn't have to do us like that, homie. Dang. Yo, that was one of the deepest poems possible.
Thank you,
Bye.
family member. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. I maybe should change my order around a little bit.
No, it's all good. Um, I feel like that might be the favorite of a lot of people, but y'all let me know which of Cuban's poems that y'all like best. Let me know in the comments. Um, so listen, I've been to Los Angeles a couple times. I wish I could go at least twice a year. Um, I like to practice my poems in the Pacific Ocean whenever I can.
Mm.
Yeah. But a lot of the people watching have never been to LA or haven't been to a poetry venue in LA. Like, what are some spots in LA that you recommend people check out?
Yeah. Yeah, man. You're welcome here anytime, dog. Like,
Oh, you're muted. You're muted. No, you're back.
yeah, sorry. That was Hensbo calling me to play Call of Duty. Um, yeah. No, man, you're welcome anytime in LA, homie. We'll roll out the red carpet for you.
Okay.
I'm definitely DPL family. I host there frequently. Host their poetry slam. I coach the poetry team, which will be alive again next year. But yeah, come to DPL. I love the poetry lounge. I really feel like we are, probably like the Dusty Cousins of the New Yo. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Back in the day
we
when I was coming up, I couldn't go to the Nuyorican without DPL being mentioned at least once in the night by somebody. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I constantly shout out New Yo. Constantly shout out New Yo. I'm like there's only a couple places in the world that hold a weekly space to read poetry. That is just there for poetry. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's there to listen to music. But yeah, I love the Poetry Lounge, a beautiful community. We've transitioned and really changed a lot into almost a like kind of like the evolution of what the community was there 10 years ago. We've got a new executive director in Jasmine Williams, who's been doing a brilliant job. But yeah, I love DPL. There's a spot out here called the Sunday Jump. Really love the work they do in the API community. Really, really fire. Man, there is No Name Books. There is man, there's so many fire little venues out here that not little, but just beautiful communities, venues. Shouts out to World Stage, shouts out to World Stage Press. Just really, really fire stuff in LA. It's crazy because it's like,
Dang, LA popping.
honestly, if you wanted to, you could probably do poetry every night, a couple nights a week, and some people do. Not me. We in the playoffs, NBA right now. I need to watch some games. But but no, man. I don't know when this is gonna air. And somebody might already won. But
Yeah, it's
but
the
yeah, I
end of the
mean,
month.
there we go, there we go. So congrats, Timberwolves winning it all. That was amazing. No,
It's so cool.
Braca, braca, braca. All right. Nah. Yeah. I mean, one of the places that I love and that I work with, you mentioned in the bio, is this organization, Street Poets Inc. I've been able to work with them for the past like 7 years. And they've been really, really beautiful. They have a free meditation and writing circle on Zoom or in person at our office every single Tuesday. Every Tuesday, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And that's on.
That's on Tuesday. And on Zoom, yes, yeah, on Zoom.
So the
Uh,
homies in New York watching could probably tune into that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it's my favorite place. Honestly, a lot of these poems were written in that writing and meditation circle.
Wow.
Just over the last few years and made it into the book.
And how
You
do they
know,
find that spot?
so you can follow me, Matthew Keelan, on the Instagrams. Or probably easier, you can look up Street Poets Inc. on Instagram, and they post it every Tuesday. I'd love for y'all to join. It's a really beautiful spot. We do a lot of practices with indigenous cultures and techniques and stuff like that. And we meditate and we read poems and we kick it. And it's really all
Uh,
levels.
Matthew Cuban, so cool, always doing these amazing things. Can you remind us one more time what your book is called? You have it with you still?
Yeah, thanks, friend. It's called All Brown Boys Get Trumpets. Probably backwards, but it's called All Brown Boys Get Trumpets. Um, and yeah, let's get our trumpets this year, y'all. Let's get them
Let's get
everywhere.
our trumpets. I hear that.
You
Um,
feel me?
Matthew Cuban, yo, it was an honor. I'm so glad I got to hear a set of poems from you. That was very enriching. I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels that way.
Thank you, friend. Honor is all mine. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Nuyo. Appreciate you, McPherson. You guys are the best.
All right, Matthew. Until next time. McPherson, who do we got next? Well, McPherson, I am here with Amon Elise. Amon, how are you doing? And who is your little friend?
Oh gosh, this is Mars.
Amon.
Hey y'all.
You made me
Just about everywhere. But I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic.
Okay, is Mars going to join us for the set? Okay, so here's what we need to know about Amon before I turn the floor over to her. Amon Elise is the intersection of a writer, a yogi, and a sensualist. Her vision of poetry as the ultimate medium of expression forces her audience to ask questions and examine themselves. Originally from Florida, she now resides in LA and is making a name for herself in their active poetry community. In April of 2021, Amon released a poetry collection, How to Bare Your Teeth at Strangers, spelled correctly. Catch her on any given night performing at an open mic. May her words move you. With that, I give you the poetry of Amon Elise. Let's go.
Thank you. It's titled It's the Disney Show. Scene. Curtains up. A director and her two brown kids enter the Walmart. They are all filed teeth and shiny foreheads, buttoned and tucked into pressed jeans. Mama said, shh, this is the Disney Show. She didn't mean the fireworks you could see from our rooftop on the clearest of nights. No roller coasters of screaming children, no vibrant costumes, and it sure as hell doesn't mean the happiest place on earth. She meant a different stage, in broad daylight. The white people were watching. Scene. Watch the brown kids dance in their stillness. See how their chests do not even stir the air as they breathe. I mean, I'm sure I used to throw tantrums. I'm sure she used to pinch me, scold me, not to touch anything. I just don't remember it. I know the result, though. Back snapping to attention, my hands whipped to my thighs, my mouth frozen into ever-permanent smile. Scene. Cue the orchestra's blonde girl in all white spins into chaos an aisle over. Let the trumpets of her lungs build in tempo. Feast on the tension between the two brown kids trailing behind their director, eerily in sync as they back away, staring. Shh. The show must go on. It still meant us in costume, animated but not speaking, hoping our gestures painted just the right picture. It still meant screaming, just internally. Lord help us if we had a misstep, because then it meant really seeing some fireworks when we got home. Scene. The director reaches the cashier counter. Soft drum roll here. Brown Kid 2 reaches for candy as sirens grow louder in the distance. He is stopped by the glare of Brown Kid 1. Sirens fade. Blue-eyed cashier watches them intensely as he scans the groceries. Orchestras gradually softens. Brown kids twirl away to return to close proximity of their director. Hanging on to her swinging purse, mute. Flutes, violins. They all make it safe to their car. It is black and shining. Or bad, the curtains must surely come down, followed by our shoulders. Skin blending into the familiar darkness. The lights will turn onto the audience, able to finally go somewhere else. Watch someone else, and laughter can burst out of our mouths live and in color.
The curtain must come down. And then what did you say?
Yeah.
As do our shoulders, or so do our shoulders. What was it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
You've been on stages before. You know how that is when the stage closed and you're like, oh.
What you know what you like about what you do, how you do it is you don't do the poet voice. It's you're very conversational. Like I didn't even know I'm amongst poetry while you speak. It's like you can like slip it in. Now the person you're just speaking with in real life is in a poem, you know. Watch out for you. All right, what do you got for our second one?
This one's titled Maybe I Should Have Told Him.
Okay. Oh, might have told him what? Let me get out here so I can find it.
For those who are watching, trigger warning. This story is about me telling my brother that one of our close family friends had assaulted me. So maybe I should have told him. When your brother tells you the story, you are not ever ready. Because who is ever ready to connect those types of dots? I mean, it's easy to see why someone would ever fall for my brother. He is the first man I ever came to love, after all. His laughter, how tall he is, the way he can set me at peace the second he walks into a room. The story goes something like this. His best friend takes a girl to prom. There's a limo, a dance floor, and spiked punch. A hotel room is mentioned, and my breath catches for the punchline. Speaking of punchlines, my rapist is 6'2". His laugh is only louder than my own. He can make my hardships take their shoes off at the door. When I tell you he turned everything I loved ugly, know it to be true. But back to the story. The next lines are something like, his best friend's prom is over now. The woman on his arm is using it as a crutch. She's stumbling over her words, her plans, her ideas for how the night will end. Pause. Maybe I should have prefaced that this story isn't too far from my own. Maybe I should have told him I'd been raped. Maybe I should have told my rapist, because this isn't the first time it's happened to me. Probably not to her either. This is just the first time I have chosen to speak. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to the story. His best friend drags her into the elevator, which pulls her to the 14th floor when she loses consciousness. He fireman lifts her without emergency onto a bed where he proceeds to tuck her in, remove himself, and shut the door behind him. My brother has a smile creeping across his face. Pride as he says, that's why he's my best friend. He didn't even touch her, just let her go. He's such a good guy. I don't have the breath to witness all the implications. What does this say about the rest of his friends? How the standards are so low to be a good guy that all of a sudden I can see my brother as a rapist. Not a monster, not a villain, not an uncle, but sibling. We're both out of breath right now. Mine is trauma-based and his is laughing. And we share that sound, that echo, our cheekbones, a womb at some point. The same point he seemed to miss. That both he and my rapist have seemed to miss, that I'm not just someone's sister or someone's daughter, but a human whose value is not derived from her relationship to anyone else, because the girl in this story is someone worth being too. And she's not laughing either. But I didn't say it because then we'd argue. And it hurts to realize the reason they go so hard for the Weinsteins, the Kobes, the Cosbys is because they recognize it within themselves. But then again, maybe I should have told him I'd been raped. Maybe then he'd echo my distaste. Maybe then we wouldn't be using our laugh to mitigate a story not too far from my own. But then I'd have to spare him the details I'm currently lost in. Like how my brother and my rapist are the same height, how they laugh from their bellies, how they make me feel safe, how they both worship the ground I walk on, how they've met, he and my brother, shared a room. My brother and I shared a womb, and how even my rapist has a little brother. I pray his laughter sounds as innocent as he is. Thank you.
Yo, sheesh. Oh man. First off, thank you for writing that. Um, wow. That was what is this? What is this book called? Is it
It's called How to Bare Your Teeth at Strangers. I'm a nerd, and so I wrote all of my hard to digest poems with a massive allegory to teeth and how digestion starts in the mouth. And so it's really well organized. Please enjoy. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no. No, because like that, you were taking me through like a lot of complex things that a lot of people really don't even want to think about. And on top of that, you were just so clear with how you articulated these complex and difficult um points. Yeah, I could have listened to that poem for 7 more minutes. Um, wow. Okay, okay. Amon Elise. How to bare your teeth at strangers. Come on. Yo, this has been so nice. Do you happen to have one more?
I do.
I
Is it
can't.
okay for a long one?
Please go for it. No, you earned that. Rock away. Let me get out of y'all's hair. Let me be quiet.
This one's called Daddyland Call Center Transcript 082264. And I'm going to preface that to listen for the puns in this one because I went off. So they're everywhere. Restricted for trainee use. Hello. You've reached Daddyland Hotline where there are absolutely no consequences to previously not using birth control. Please hold. For the ones that need courage. Thank you for holding. Yes, contrary to popular belief, being fatherless has reached a state of normativity. They'll be fine. That's why they call them offspring, get it? How old is the child? Oh, children. That's fine. In fact, we found the earlier the better. We'd even say easier. All you have to do is get in your car, abandon parenting, and drive. Just continue to do that until you reach us. You'll know when you're here. Everyone will. For the intake. Why, hello there, and welcome to Daddyland. We've been expecting you. Please place all cell phones, pagers, mailboxes, firewood in those bins. Yes, we're serious. We can't risk smoke signals reaching you here. You did agree to the terms and conditions as they were read to you, yes? Now, how about you place all those pens, pencils, and papers in the incinerators to your left? And now you're all set. Fill up your time with the other would-be fathers. They like to, well, no one knows what they like to do, really. It's a secret. But now you'll get the full experience. The first follow-up, have the price list ready. Costs are high and rising. Well, it's been a few months, and we're calling to check up on you. How's everything been? That's great to hear. May I interest you in some upgrades? We already have you down for the talk through my lawyer package, but I could suggest the angry new wife or the randomized women option. They're priced about the same. For the truly brave, I can offer you the direct to disconnect plan. Ooh, and it looks like you're in luck. We have a huge sale on the total deniability package. Oh, well, that's where we sever both of your wrists, and the whole thing really is out of your hands. When they need to hear validation. Congratulations, it's been insert time here. You didn't even notice the birthdays, did you? Yeah, sometimes the abandoned family does stop trying to contact you. At about this point, yes. At 1 year and every major interval. Don't worry, they won't notice the pattern. We hear you've hit a milestone, old timer. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. Unfortunately, we do not offer alternative father blocking packages. They were discontinued after several placebo trials. It didn't test well. I'm sorry, we don't even have Hallmark here. We don't even recognize the third Sunday in June, sir. For when they step out. Hello? I hope we haven't contacted you at a bad time, but we're seeing some suspicious activity, and we just wanted to confirm you tried to reach out to your biologicals 2 days prior. Let's talk about that. Why do you feel the need to commit to their lives now? We don't suggest contacting her, sorry, especially not to deliver overdue praise. While we continue to promote diversity, we do not advise warning him about dating those women. For the repeat offenders. It's great to hear your voice. The call interceptor program of ours does a great job, doesn't it? Well, now that we have you, we've seen some further concerns we really need to address. This is simply not good. Please consider all the positive influence you've had by not being there. You may disrupt their lives by trying to contact them now. No, our plans don't just expire because they're legal adults. It was in the terms and conditions. For the especially persistent. Have you been receiving our messages? Do you still think it was a wise decision? I see you thought this through. We heard this is your third attempt at a restart? Yes, we're aware of the difficulties. Well, we're always here if you need us, just a phone call away. For the successful. Hey, this is Daddyland call center calling to check up on you. Well, you're one of the few who managed to effectively opt out of our program. We'd like to ask how you're faring for our weekly newsletter, a sort of Where Are They Now edition. Oh. Hosting cuddle puddles? LGBTQ affiliated? Oh, but still writing poems about her emotions instead of being direct? Oh, and he's still ignoring your entire existence? Unforgiving, huh? Well, that's unfortunate. Maybe it's just a phase, like your absence from their life. I think that's rather rash, isn't it? All right, I'll remove you immediately. Please let us know if we can be of further assistance. Oh, unfortunately, we don't have a listed contact for fatherhood. It's something you and your children can figure out together. Thank you so much.
Amon Elise. Yo, we gotta talk about how you and Mars made it a group piece. That was amazing. You're like petting Mars, like, is this your third attempt at a restart? Yeah, that's amazing. This is the greatest. And then Mars is like sitting on your lap, like just watching.
Yeah.
That's all of us. That's all.
Coming when I'm like feeling emotional. He like comes and sits down and is like, hey, you.
Shout out to Mars then, yo. And that poem wasn't even that long. That was only insert time here. He was tripping. I like when you said the pens in the incinerator. I was like, oh snap. I'm glad I was muted because I yelled at that point.
No, I'm thinking about, when you think about all the times you wait for a dad to arrive. I'm not sure if this is your experience, but like you wait on them to arrive and you're like, what is going on? Where do they live in a world without pens? And so I'm just here describing it and writing it. That poem has been 5 years in the making. Every couple of years I add on a stanza, and that's where my dad have started talking again, and he has heard the poem and he just has to deal, and we've been developing it slowly. So we're there. Yeah.
You parent the poem you get, you know what I'm saying? So, all right. Amon Elise, where do we find you? How can we support you?
I'm Amon Elise on Instagram, AM as in Mary, O-N as in Nancy, E-L-I-S-E. And you can find my book, How to Bare Your Teeth at Strangers. It's on Amazon. There's also, it's at the World Stage Press, which if you support your local small bookstores, please get it from there. And this is my writer's copy, but bare is it's spelled correctly, and it's in the color red so that people know it's intentional. It's supposed to be like how you carry your teeth at strangers.
Bare on, wow, oh, interesting. Okay. Before we go, you said you moved to LA in what, 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
So then you've seen LA before and after the pandemic. What would you say is like the biggest change you've observed in the poetry scene out there since then?
I'm not gonna lie, the community took a hit. We used to be the stoop kids outside of DPL poetry, sitting there from, if you know DPL poetry, we used to be able to sit there from 3 p.m. as early as 2 p.m. some of us waiting for a slot to be there. And so if you're part of the stoop kids and you're like in line together week after week, you develop a really close community. And a lot of them are still my friends to this day. Um, Now they discourage that because of venue policies, but post pandemic, it's more immediate poetry because the line starts at a different time and it's closer to the venue time. So a lot of people don't have the time to just talk and workshop and write poetry together. But I do still think they do classes every now and then. So
Hmm.
it just looks a little different, but the love is still there.
Why can't the stoop time come back?
Listen, I think it's a venue thing. I don't think it's DPL. I
Mm.
think the venue had issues with, 30 people outside since 3 p.m. It can get a little wild. Ciphers are happening, poets are writing furiously, like sharing poems. To the outside world, it could look a little eccentric. So
Well, we got to find a way to bring that magic back. New York has had similar losses that we're working really hard to regain post-pandemic. We're working really hard. I know. And knowing that DPL is like the sister venue to the Nuyorican, I know that y'all are working hard too. And I can't wait to see how these two cities grow in the next few years. But Annalise, thank you for representing LA for us one time. Appreciate you. And hoping to see you soon out there when we want to read that book for sure.
absolutely. Thank you so much.
Of course. Well, McPherson, are you with the last poet yet, or do you need a little bit more time?
Well, McPherson, I'm here with our last poet, Carmelita. What can I tell you about her? Also known as Carmelita AF online, if you're looking for it, is a Los Angeles poet-based writer with an MFA in creative writing from Antioch University, Los Angeles. In addition to writing, Carmelita can be found working jobs that bring her joy as a lifeguard, what? Swim instructor, and cycling instructor. I am so afraid of drowning. I could never do that job. Essays of hers can be found in the Huffington Post, the Good Men Project, and the anthology My Vulva and Me. Carmelita writes as way to share stories and community with collective healing in mind. She can be found spitting poetry monthly at queer open mics. Carmelita, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I am so excited to see your set. So I'm gonna be quiet and enjoy. Like everybody, Carmelita.
My name. This poem is for anyone who's ever felt the need to take a couple of inches off of themselves for having a name folks trip over. For anyone who's ever wanted their birth gift to be shouted correctly from rooftops and not be chopped into bitty pieces to make themselves more palatable. If ever you find someone's throat stumbling over your name, darling, let them choke. My name is Carmelita. The shit just don't slip off your tongue because it's not supposed to. You don't run past my name, nah. You gotta stop, think about that shit, Carmelita. Let every syllable roll through your mouth like the savory last bite of grandma's chicken or her mac and cheese or sweet butter cornbread and greens. Stop that shit up to the last bite. My name is soul food. This name was never found in a keychain in a souvenir shop. It ain't basic, ain't simple. More than anything, and a tribute to these dimples, it's beautiful. My name is magic. A spell cast every time it's said aloud. Carmelita, don't play with the karma part. They say karma's a bitch, but only if you don't act right. Karma is the divine energy that holds you accountable for your shit, so don't fuck with me. I'm Carmelita. I don't wish anything on you but what you put into the world. Yes, my name is a mouthful, and so is nourishment. So chew on that shit, Carmelita. And yes, I expect you to enunciate the T. You're not gonna say my name lazily, because if you can say pterodactyl in good conscience, knowing good and goddamn well that shit starts with a P, you can say Carmelita. Don't fucking play with me. My name has 9 letters. It's ostentatious. My name is everything. My favorite gift from my mother, second to my life, Carmelita. When I was 10, standing in front of a judge to be adopted, my foster mother encouraged me to change my name. Make it something simple, she says, a name easier to say, easier to erase, easier to easier to spell, easier to erase like the memory of my mother every time I called her mom. I stood 10 toes down, staring up at the judge with a pen in her hand. No, I like my name. My name is Carmelita. Carmalita. I was a bitty frame thing with a big name that I know I grow into someday. My ancestors were dragged over here like cattle on ships, stripped, whipped, branded, and bought. I am now gifted with the singular thought that my name is mine, and I carry it like my ancestors carry my legacy when not able to carry their own language. Carmelita is both my name and my alter ego. So, no, when I introduce myself to you and you fix your lips to say, do you go by anything shorter? I will always say yes, Carmelita. My grandmother heard the sounds of World War II warfare growing up in Germany. So when you hear me say my name is the bomb, no, I don't say that shit lightly. No matter how many times I amalgamate my first name with someone else's, I will always be me first. Between a custody battle with my biological parents, being adopted, a marriage, and a divorce, my last name has changed 6 times. Every time I remain Carmelita. I obviously, absolutely have an overwhelming obligation to myself. Undoubtedly, I don't just know 4-syllable words. I am one.
Yo, that was flames. Okay, so I said everybody, Carmelita, and you're like, my name. Say it right. I'm like, oh no. Okay, because like I did like the softy, like Carmelita, but it's Carmelita.
Yes, I prefer that. I just don't do Carmelita. People be like, duh. And I'm like, nah, that's not me. But like the way you say it
Carmelita.
is just fine. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so my karma is still in intact, hopefully.
Yes, you good. You good.
Okay. Sheesh, phew. Yo, it's actually like, because I be hosting slams. It's one of my biggest fears is getting names wrong. And when it happens, it's like, I know it's like, we learn it, but for some reason I'm just like, my name is Tony. I do got one of them keychain names.
Come on, keychain name.
Wow. So, what's the next poem about, I wonder?
The next poem is about pleasure.
Okay, so we wrote about identity and pleasure. Let's get into it. Let me get out your way.
Yes. My pleasure. The first thing that comes to mind when hearing the word pleasure is sex. We love some fucking pleasure and poems birthed by orgasm, but that is low hanging fruit. Low hanging fruit is still fruit, though, ain't it? And pleasure is to be found in juicy and drippy and wet, cool breeze left behind on chin after pleasing a woman. But this poem, it ain't about that. It takes a little more work to access the feeling of pleasure beyond inner thigh arousal. It takes feeling in your whole body and being comfortable enough to enjoy good body feelings rooted in celebration of existing in peace. When breeze brush through scalp and the smile widens when someone you're excited to see sees you back. I love the pleasure found in water ripples, flashes of blue and clear. I like to be wet, having wrinkled fingertips pruned by enthusiasm. I like to be wet and having wrinkled fingertips pruned by enthusiastic stroke and staying in the deep end until you're finished. Let's focus. I'm talking about swimming. I told y'all, this poem ain't about fucking. It's about everything that makes me feel good. Things I wasn't taught to celebrate, like solitude and silence, and waking up before 6 a.m. with nothing but bird song to keep me company. I find pleasure in moving through my home at the wee hours of the morning without having to tiptoe around someone else's ability to sleep past the butt crack of dawn. My pleasure is rooted in the idea that I get to choose how I feel every day, and I choose to feel good more times than I choose to not. I choose pleasure in celebrating the small victories like parking spaces and the large victories like another day of life and unlearning any concept that no longer serves me. One of the worst ideas I ever learned was that touching myself was sinful, that somehow pleasure alone was shameful. What an awful thing for a child to learn, that self pleasure could do anything other than please the Lord. The only religion I am interested in is one that teaches little girls appropriate touching and consent and safe space in relation to sacred body parts. And I know all my parts be sacred because I know even how powerful just my fingers are. Little girl bodies grow into grown women bodies that don't know how to feel safe around men who don't like women. And I have fucked enough men to know that these niggas don't be liking pussy for real. Not in a way that brings them pleasure that exists outside their nuts. There is pleasure to be found in post-nut clarity and post-hetero clarity too. I don't believe a lot of straight men like pussy, or women really. They like men, they just don't like dick. Hella lesbians like dick, they just don't like men. We love pussy though. The lips and how easy it slips when kisses on hip dips turn to water tricks that allow you to slide in easy when giving some dick. I don't care what anybody says. I can feel that shit because I love pussy. It brings me pleasure to touch and be touched by a woman. If you are not aroused by the thought of wet and lip and dip of waist to wide hip, ooh, that drip, you ain't slick. You just don't like that shit. But as for me and my mouth, I get pleasure from okra slimy, snail trail dribble off the bottom of your chin, wet, wet. I don't care if being gay sends me straight to hell. Oh well, I love me some pussy. Pleasure rooted ocean deep in this gay shit. Pleasure rooted ocean deep. Pleasure rooted ocean deep. This gay shit is just for keeps. This is more than pleasure. I am home here.
Okay, so that was a chin scratcher. Hold on. Let me. Okay, so I tried making a diagram. I was like, okay, so there's men. They don't like dick, but they like men, and then like lesbians. I was trying to get the map of what you were saying. Can you break that down one more again? Because it's brilliant. Like you really broke it down like a fraction, but I couldn't graph it
So
out in
wait,
time.
which part? Or
Yeah,
just the idea?
it was like men like men, but they don't like dick, you were saying.
Uh-huh.
And then what was after that?
Let's see. I don't believe a lot of straight men like pussy, or
Hmm.
women really. They
Hmm.
like men, they just don't like dick. Hella lesbians like dick, they just don't like men. We love pussy though.
Right. Yeah, okay. I got it. Um, you also said um the only religion you're interested in is like one that teaches girls like consent and like safe touch. I think that religion would be so fire because that's one of my gripes with religion. So everybody in the comments, I want to get started on that religion. I want to get started on that poem. My challenge to y'all in the comments is to write one line of that doctrine, one line of that poem. Like what is the poetic gospel that teaches consent in the comments. But while y'all handle that, Carmelita, you got one more for us?
Yes.
All right, let me get out your way.
My resilience. My womb is the last stop. No child will come from me and be tied to unbelievable resiliency, especially one who has to be resilient because parents were unsafe and chose unsafe partners. I love my granny, but the husband she chose and the children she bore are why my therapy bill be as high as the blood pressure that runs in my family. My granddaddy was an army man, sharp shave, sharp cut, sharp sting to little boy bodies in his home. I learned to read early, learned that if words on paper were said incorrectly, pain was to follow directly after wristwatch became blow to little boy knuckles. My brothers were told to toughen up, don't be soft, stop crying. I feared the pain of getting an answer wrong. But see, with me, my grandfather, he sang a different song. Always sweet, soft spoken, raspy whispers, deep, hey, Carmelita. Never would say that R, but enunciated the fuck out of that T. My grandfather treated me differently. My auntie tried to teach us self defense. They had us in karate so we could learn how to fight off potential harm with tiny fists and kicks. In the backyard, they say, what do you do if somebody tries to grab you? Me, always scrappy, a fighter. In the projects, my mama always said, y'all gotta protect each other. And if one of y'all get your ass beat, I'm beating all y'all's asses. So I showed my elders how tough I could be. I'd punch and kick and holler loud to show them just how much I could protect the little me. They never did tell me what to do at night, though. When male silhouettes hover in the doorway, dark and demanding dainty daughters of daughters. They never said predators could also look like parents of parents. My mama's father made fresh prey of baby girl child. Daddies ain't never been safe where I'm from. My mama's husband just died, and all the tears I've cried are for the sadness creeping up in my granny's bright brown eyes. But now that he has died, so have some of his lies. My 80 my 80 year My 81-year-old granny say, I feel like I lost me. All the while, I feel like I can breathe. You're not gonna see no tears come for me. That is my granny's ministry. She only ever consented to sex with her husband, and not on the first night. When does Stockholm's turn into this is home? My granny says, I guess he raped me, as if it's nothing. Child bride sleeps in the bathtub on her wedding night until husband forces consummation. She was 15 in West Virginia, running from abuse and into the arms of a man who wasn't safe around children. She did her best, but her best wasn't always the best for me. So now resilience is a core part of my personality. Do better, strive higher, accomplish more. Success markers rarely feel enough because the story I care of my family is fucking tough. Resilience, it's about the bounce back, the come up without looking disheveled. My granny might be able to read at a fifth grade level, and I have an MFA in creative writing. Them degrees ain't never been about me. It's about healing the shit generationally. This year, my grandfather making it to 82, but my homegirl only making it to 83. But my homegirl only making it to 33 don't sit right with me. She too loved her granny deep and had a complicated relationship with her mother. She was safer in my home state, Ohio, while I sought refuge in her city. And she wanted to visit me, but I knew all too well that a vacation home has the potential to sit down 30 somethings trying to find soft landings from their hard upbringings. We both knew that sometimes women ain't got no business bringing life into this world, but we're glad they did, because bad bitches be birthing beautiful, brilliant bastards, breaking barriers beyond belief. This shit is bigger than me. Resilience is bouncing back from your own bullshit, because breaking curses sometimes causes us to break the hearts of those we love. And I'm actively working on my shit so my lover can love me gently. And I don't flinch at night when she gets into bed after I fall asleep, because my body still remembers how unsafe the night can be. I want to be able to love deep and fearlessly and have my lover feel love without having to tap into her own resiliency. I'm trying, but there are court documents that have been keeping the score since 1994. This body been public record since I was 3. So excuse me if I'm unfamiliar to privacy. You see, I done grew through some shit. I'm so resilient. My bounce back look like bad bitch, look like real rich, fuck a dollar sign. My ancestors say I own this. My resilience, it ain't just about being strong. It's about knowing when to stop when the road feels much too long. It's about leading into community when all I want to do is lean into the arms of someone I know isn't good for me. My resilience, it looks like poetry. Thank you.
Come on, that's how you end this set. Yo, that poem was tough. That shit was necessary. That's again why we need that poetry religion doctrine he was talking about. Yo, man, I hope everybody gets to hear your poetry at some point, because you have a very important message, and I like how you be writing. I really hope everybody hears it. That's my wish. I'm gonna put it in the
Thank you
universe.
so much.
No, no, no. Thanks for coming through. Look though, I just want to end with a simple question, because I love LA. It is one of my favorite places to be. What is your favorite thing about that? You've been living there, what you said, 10 years, 11 years?
11 years, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What's the best part? Tell it to me, because I love New York, but tell it to me. What?
First of all, New York is cute, but I don't do the cold. So that's a big
Mm,
factor for me. I don't do snow. I
facts.
don't do brick. I don't do bundling up. Like, I do not like to wear clothes, so that doesn't work for me. But I
Mm,
love that LA is a city full of dreamers, and I always have access to nature. I am in a very central location, so the beach, hiking, mountains, it's only about a 30-minute drive for me. So if ever I want to
mm,
go see Mommy Wada and touch the ocean, I can do that. Have my feet in the earth and the sand. If I want to go up hiking, up a canyon, I can do that. There's also so much culture and community in different places. I am never the only person of color in any room that I enter. So I love how diverse Los Angeles is. I love that everybody out here has a goal and they're striving for something, because you don't just live in LA because the rent prices are too crazy just to be kicking it. So it's just like, this is a city full of people who are about some shit. And so I love it. I am like a ride or die. It's either LA or somewhere out of the country. Like, that's it for me.
Oh my God, yo, well, you repping LA to the fullest. Yo, you said ocean, mountain, everybody's about it. Oh my God, the dreams. Okay, wow, all right. A city of a whole bunch of dreams collected. I see. Carmelita, how can we find you? How can we support you?
I have a blog that I'm going to actually start getting back on. It is the Carmelita AF blog. So just
Mm.
www.carmelitaaf.com. And then on social media platforms, it's just Carmelita AF.
Okay, good. Well, that should be simple enough. CarmelitaAF.
Yes.
Well, boom. That finishes our Beatnix LA stop. The city of LA owes me nothing other than an invitation in the visit because I want to get in that ocean this
Yeah,
summer.
pull up.
I will. Maybe I'll run into you and the rest of the homies. Let me see though. I gotta thank before we get on our virtual bus. I want to thank the Mid Atlantic Group for making this happen. I of course want to thank the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, all of our LA poets, and let me know in the comments what you want the next stop on the Beatnix virtual tour bus to be. My name's Tony McPherson, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Darling, let them choke.